Hey folks, welcome to Papa John's Homestead channel. Behind me here, I've got my bed made up this year. This bed is 4 to 6 inches of mulch, or actually compost. If you remember those blackberries I put in the ground, I'd like to take a look at these here. These are actually blooming. If you remember that video, that's them, and they are all coming online. This cold weather has caused some problems this spring and delayed getting everything planted in my area. Anyway, I'm gonna walk over here. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna go ahead and get some plants ready and give you a few tips on how to prepare them to go in the ground. Sorry about all the noise. I'm happy today. Let's see here. I'll show you just a couple of the plants I've got here. And I planted all these from seed, so there you go. That's just a couple of them. All right, folks. I'm over here in the shade right now. I'm gonna go ahead and prune up some of these plants, get them ready to go in the garden. I'll put these in the ground later in the afternoon and get a little closer to dark so they don't dry out so bad. Shouldn't have much to worry about planting them in my no-till garden. So what I did in the garden is I've put down several loads of mulch, and I turned them. I turned them for 2 or 3 weeks, and I got the soil conditioned and went back in with a couple more loads and put over top. So now today I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna put my plants out. I've got I started these plants a couple months ago, different dates. These are my marigolds. Marigolds are a companion plant to most things in the garden. These help get rid of some of the pests, ward off some of your pests. These will be going in the garden. They also help with nematodes, which I have a problem with in my soil. So let's see, tomatoes. I've gone over tomatoes before. These that have 2 in here, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna prune out the weakest one, and I'm gonna prune up the leaves. Let's see, I'll show you here. Just like last year, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna prune these. Now these plants have been hardened off and they're wilted a little bit. The soil is very dry, so these can go straight in the ground and not have to, they won't go into shock, and most of the soil will stay to the roots. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna clip this one out. This little guy right here is an extra. And I'm gonna trim a couple of leaves off. The deeper you plant these, the less you'll have to worry about water if you're in a dry climate or drier climate. I find that where I'm at, I have more of a sandy soil. I will dig a hole with the post hole diggers, and I'll dig them all the way down to here. And this part right here will be the top of the plant sticking out of the ground. The rest of it will be in the ground. And this tomato plant will grow very healthy. It'll create roots from there all the way up to where it's planted to the top of the ground. And all those roots give it an advantage to sucking up nutrients and also keeping it hydrated. Let's see, I'm gonna show you one more thing. Take this out. Pepper plants are still small. The weather had a lot to do with it, bringing them inside and out. I'm gonna do the same thing with my pepper plants. I'm gonna prune those off. I'll leave just a little bit more at the top of this pepper plant, but the same thing. I'm gonna plant this in the ground, and I'm gonna leave this much exposed at the top, and these will develop some roots. So I'm gonna go ahead, prune all of these. Oh, I'd like to show you one more thing. If you start your cucumber plants early, try to keep it within about 4 weeks of going in the ground. It's one of those plants that likes to grow. It likes to grow really fast. What you'll have is, you'll have plants. They'll be nice, pretty plants. But then you're gonna have this here. Now I'm gonna have to pull all these blooms off. If you have one that's blooming and you're transplanting these in your garden, go ahead and pinch off all your blooms. You'll want to do that for next week or so till this plant takes hold in the ground, and then you can let it go. Or you can continue to pull the blooms off for a couple of weeks to allow your plant to settle in and mature a little. I'll put these a little deeper in the ground, but I'm only going to go up to that leaf. I might put them in the ground about that far. These will be fine, especially with the mulch. So this is what I was talking about. The reason why you want to do your squash and your cucumbers, try not to get too far out, because you're going to have plants like the cucumbers that are blooming. Now these are a little younger, but you can see how mature these plants are. They've already developed these leaves, so they're ready to go in the ground. If they only had these little round, these lobed leaves on them, I would wait until they develop a couple of leaves here to put these in the ground so that you have a good mature root system. You can see the roots coming out of the bottom here. These will be fine. I'll transplant them and they'll do real well. So these are zucchini. And squash is the same way. Squash grows really fast. These plants are only a couple weeks old, so maybe 3 weeks old. Now this is an eggplant. I only had a couple of survive, moving them in and out of the house. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna trim off a couple of leaves. I'll leave that at the top. And this plant, what'll happen is, what you're doing by trimming a couple of leaves off is giving this plant a little bit better opportunity to set roots. So I'm just going to go through and we'll prune all these, and I'll meet you over at the garden, and we'll try to get these in the ground this afternoon. It's something I didn't cover at the beginning. I like to go by the almanac. Right now, today and tomorrow are good days to transplant plants, and because I couldn't do this back Good Friday, I want to go ahead and get these in the ground because I'm having to take them in and out of the house, or have had to take them in and out of the house because of the weather. We got down in the 40s, you know, well, close to the 30s a few times, and it's really stressed the plants out. Anyhow, I got a good many plants to go in the ground. It's not bad for starting seed. Saved a little bit of money. It's a little bit easier on the wallet. I've started these from seed, mostly what I have in the freezer I've collected over the years, and they've done real well. So I'll see you at the garden. Okay, so here we are in the garden. I'm going to take my plants and I'm just going to lay them out where I'm going to plant them. Go ahead and get them in the ground, and I'll come back and we'll go over the trellises. Okay, everything's laid out now. Show you what I'm doing. Come over here. Raking back this compost on top of this row so that I can dig in the dirt, and then I'll pull this damp compost back around my plant. I'll show you. There it is there. Exactly what I'm doing. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Get that row over there, and even my peppers and the rest of the plants. And my cucumbers. So let's see if we can set it up so you can see what's going on. Show you something. That right there is a sign of a healthy garden. I know you're wondering why I'm leaving this up here like this. I don't want to cover my plants completely up. There's a little bit of mulch around them right now, just enough moisture to hold the moisture to the ground. And in a few days, I can pull a little bit more of this over there to it, build the bedding back up, and they'll thrive. And I'm going to do this row the same way and just continue on. Okay, I've got my cucumbers in the ground, tomatoes are in the ground, peppers, a good many of the plants that I got started early this year. Got to get everything in the ground in the locations that I need to have them in. I'm not gonna build the trellises on this video. I'm gonna set the camera up and just go ahead and dress everything up. Don't forget, when you finish transplanting your plants, you need to go ahead and give them a little drink of water. And being that this is a mulch bed, it'll hold the moisture down. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to soak everything and let these plants sit. I'll do another video to show you the trellises that I'm building for what I have here. I'm just going to show you what's going on. Over here we got tomatoes and peppers there. Got my cucumbers in here. These here are my zucchinis. Got a couple of those in the ground. We're going to try a new method with those this year. And there's some straight neck squash. Actually going to try to do a grow these up on sticks. If you remember the video that I put these plants in here, these blackberries, you can see these blackberries there pretty much in full bloom now. Really going to be nice this year to have some fruit. Banana plants, remember a couple of videos there. You see the stalks here. A lot of my big trunks, they actually started to come out early this year, and the frost got them. But you see there's plenty of babies to replace them. Now in this area right here, I'm going to do something with some sweet potatoes, and that's going to be a video. I'm going to grow some sweet potatoes in tubs this year. This pile of mulch here, I've gone and turned this mulch every week from one end to the other. And this is mulch from the fairgrounds, and you can see what type of soil that created. Hopefully we can do something more with that this year and get some rabbits and make some good soil for the fertilizer for these plants. I'm gonna go ahead and dress everything up, get the water hose and soak everything in. All right, here we go. By the way, this is another special tool that I made here. Makes things a lot easier with that long handle. Got everything in the ground, got everything watered in, and it's ready to go. The next video I have out, I'll show you how I'm doing the trellises and go through that. I'll also be putting some companion plants in, plant some carrots and basil and whatnot. These are the tomatoes, and you can see here, right here, I planted marigolds all around. It'll help with the nematodes, it'll help deter some of the pests. I've used them in the past and they have worked really good. This is the first year going back to planting this method, and it's worth it in the end. It's just a lot of work. I have my cucumbers here. I'll build a trellis here. These are I think tender greens, and the other one's another variety, but they're long cucumbers. They were wilted real bad when I put them in the ground. You can see just that little bit of water there brought them back. Gonna build another trellis here. Got some more, and of course I've already showed you the other ones, but everything's watered in. got something else here I would like to show you real quick before I end the video. If you watch the transplant video, I'm gonna show you these grapes here. Don't have my trellis built yet, but that's fine. I'll come stake these up until I can build them. But I like to show you this here. Can you see? Can you see this? These are the bunch grapes. It's already bloomed, and it's made a bunch of grapes. So I will definitely have to get either a trellis or put some more stakes in the ground and stake them up. And of course, they all came out before the last frost. Young tender buds, and it just totally destroyed them. It knocked them back, and they had to come back again. Get on this side here. I'd like to show you this. In that video, remember there was nothing here. And this is what training and pruning will do for you. Come down here and you can see a little bit better. See these guys? This is what I was talking about. This spur here, it'll put more shoots out and create more spurs. This is what I like to show you. It's already bloomed and made grapes. Now it'll continue to do this as it grows out. It'll actually grow out canopy down. I'll show you that as the season goes on. Just add them in videos. These here, these last two at the end, are just vigorous growers. You can see how fast and hard they come in. And this is after the frost bit them one time, and they died back. And they actually, look at the growth here. Each one off this spur here, each one of these limbs will just create fruit like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, give you another shot here. Yep. Good stuff. Folks, I really appreciate you watching. I hope to see you again. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And give it a big old thumbs up if you liked it. And consider subscribing if you would. It'll help my channel out. And I'll see you next time, folks.